have a very special guest joining me on Primetime Local News today. Tyrone Ravine is here. The Ravine family has a very long legacy, and you're going to be performing in Lloydminster at the Vic Juba Community Theatre November the 8th, which is next Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks, Stacey. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Well, just in case there's someone who might not know the Ravine name, can you tell me about what your show is? When people come to see you at the Vic Juba Community Theatre, what can they expect to happen?
Well, our show is famous for being the biggest scene show on the top theater circuit, coast to coast in Canada during the 20th century. We broke more box office records with the exact same shows that I perform as my father did, touring on the biggest theater circuit from coast to coast. And that was achieved it started back in 1961 when we came over from Australia. All of us kids were born in Australia, except for my youngest brother. He was born in Vancouver. And then we grew up on the road of a traveling show. We were with our parents. It was a bizarre lifestyle, but we didn't know anything different. But it was quite a ride. It's kind of like traveling with the circus, I guess, because when we came to town, it was like the circus. People would wrap around the block to see our show night after night. And still today in Western Canada's biggest theater, which is the Orpheum Theater, my father's name, the Ravine name, is engraved in granite right beside the backstage door, because he sold more tickets to his show on a single run than any other show in the history of that theater, which goes back a long time. And I've always had this ability to be very creative, because I was just applying the principles of hypnosis that I learned from my father, that you can achieve anything in life you want to achieve, but you've got to tap into your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where your genius is. We all have the capacities to have genius within us, but most people don't recognize that it's there. And that's because they think, oh, what have I done in life that really makes me capable of doing anything? They kind of float around in the conscious thinking of the mind, which is by its nature very negative in its thinking. It's like, why do this when you can play a safer role? I mean, it's necessary because it helps us to not to allow our self-confidence to override our common sense and do things that are potentially dangerous for it. But it also holds us back from achieving many or most of the things that we want to achieve in life. And that's why we try to take people into a very deep state of relaxation and teach them how important that is during the show. You will see that we start off by taking people into a very deep state of relaxation, and then through a series of consecutive positive suggestions, we convince them that they have the ability to achieve anything in life that they want to achieve. And then we draw them into a spotlight, and they perform at levels that people are just amazed at. I mean, like.
And one thing we should mention too is that when these people come to the show, the audience says there's nothing negative, there's nothing bad that's going to happen to them, and you can't control them and tell them, go rob a bank or something like that, right? It's all
Oh
very
no,
positive.
in the superconscious state, you can't tell anybody to do anything that is contrary to their deep rooted moral convictions. That is an absolute Hollywood fallacy. It's a lie. And they've been kind of brainwashing that they depict hypnotists as these crazy lunatics, and they leave this rash of disaster everywhere they go by that kind of image that they depict. But in a superconscious state, you are very aware of what you're doing, and you'll never be tricked into doing something that is contrary to your deep rooted moral convictions. As an absolute Hollywood fallacy. I mean, hypnosis by its nature means many things to different people, and it can be used. Basically, the hypnotic state is brought about through relaxation and a series of consecutive positive suggestions.
And do you find that people feel differently after the show when they leave the show? Do they, it's kind of a really nice positive feeling because of the way that you've done the hypnosis?
Oh yeah, and we don't let them leave the stage without charging them with some really great positive suggestions. But the most common thing that we get feedback on is that I've never slept better in my entire life than I do now. And they're more relaxed and they're more self confident. When you relax, you become self confident. It's natural, and that's the kind of there's a certain element of enemy out there that doesn't want us to feel that. They kind of I think they keep us more in control by making us fear this and fear that. But once you get beyond the fear factor, you really have the ability to program your mind to do anything that you want. But you have to learn to relax, and this is one of the things that you'll learn by watching this show, which is tremendously entertaining.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. So once again, the Ravine Show, November the 8th, Friday at the Vic Juba Community Theater. And if people are looking for more information just on yourself and on your family, what is the best way to find that?
Oh, you can go to our website, which is ravine.com. You have to know how to spell ravine. It's all E's. It's REVEEN.com. And it'll give you a list of our shows and our history and things like that. But it's a show I want you to show up with. We used to pack them around the block night after night when my father was touring when I was a teenager, right through my adult ages. And then I decided that I wanted to become a great designer and special effects for rock and roll bands. And I didn't have any training for that. Well, I knew how to train on the road, but I knew that I had the ability to achieve anything in this world that I wanted to achieve. And I knew what I wanted to do, and that was to be in show business and help superstars make their shows look better. And I became very successful at that as well.
Well, once again, I appreciate the chat, and we will see you just over a week from today, Vic Juba Community Theater in Lloydminster. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Oh, thanks, Stacy, for taking the time. I really appreciate it.